I feel that the community also feels that whatever they do, nothing is going to happen. Like if they shoplift, the owner cannot do anything, cannot even touch them, and it's fine, and they'll just walk away. How are you managing that perception as well?
The reality about any crime of stealing or assault is that if you see a stealing occur, which is a crime as opposed to an offence, so a traffic offence or speeding is an offence, but stealing is a crime. There's also a low-level assault or there's a criminal assault. If you see someone commit an offence, you are empowered to use reasonable force to arrest them, to take hold of them and hold on to them until you hand them to me as a police officer. So you can do that. We don't recommend people to do it, especially if someone says, I've got a knife.
Yeah.
So like if I am off duty and I'm in a store and some kid tried to steal my phone from me, or some person did, and they said, I've got a knife, I don't actually know which way I'd go. Because if I can see the weapon, okay, I'm not going to touch them. I'm going to walk away. It's not worth getting stabbed. If they're just saying it to put me off, I might just jump on them anyway. If I was wearing all of my accoutrements, it's my job to deal with that. But certainly the community can. But what we say is be careful about your own safety. If someone says they have a weapon, it's probably safer for you to walk away than to risk them actually pulling out something, because even a pen can do very, very significant damage to you if you're stabbed with it really hard. And we don't want anyone to be in that situation. So even if the person who says they have a knife only have a pen, they can still hurt you. And we don't want that. The reality of offences by children is that where a young person or a person under the age of 18 commits an offence or a crime that is serious enough for police to be involved, I can exercise a power of arrest if I can't ensure their appearance in court. In other words, if I don't know who they are and they won't tell me, or they're running away because I can't identify them, I have a power of arrest to take them back to the station, identify them, then we decide on whether or not they get released unconditionally for a diversionary process, or we send them to court. Or it might be I can arrest them for a restraint order or a family violence order, or I can arrest them if I believe that they're likely to fabricate or destroy evidence and the appearance in court. If the young person is known to me and the offence is not overly serious, in other words, they've stolen a can of Coke, I can take that can of Coke from them and I can say to them, I am going to go and talk to your parents. You are going to be required to come and see me for an interview. Then as a result of that process, once that's resolved, they either go to court or they go through a restorative justice process. And the idea about restorative justice is that we, as police, we take the young person and the victim and anyone who's affected into a room to have a discussion about why what they did was wrong and help them understand what the impact of that was. So if they've stolen from your business, you get an opportunity to say, it's taken me X number of years to build this business. When someone steals from me, it costs me money. So I have to put up the prices for everyone who honestly pays. And then you can talk about all the other costs that go in having a business and explain, by you stealing, you are pushing me closer to the edge of my business failing just because you want a can of Coke, or you want a t-shirt, or you want something like that. And they get to see the human side of the person that they're offending against.
So is they go through the restorative justice process and then they do it again, is there either deeper consequence?
Ultimately, yes, that there are. For children who go through that process and either don't comply with the restorative justice process, in that they might turn up and just say, actually, stuff you, I don't want to be here. They then go to court because they haven't finished this process. And for a kid who's regularly offending, well, if the young person is now stealing and threatening the shop owner, I'm not going to give them bail. I'll talk to my inspector who's on duty and say, this young person has committed this, this, and this, dealt with by restorative process. They've now committed this crime, this crime, this crime, this crime involving violence. I don't want to give them bail. Yeah. And I convince the inspector to authorize their detention for court. So then we don't let them out and we make the court decide.